The option to cash out the pension fund and take the lump sum can be tempting, but it comes at a cost. It is far better to remain in service and continue to build your retirement fund so that you can rely on pension benefits that will largely keep pace with inflation for the rest of your life after retirement. This can only happen if you belong to a defined benefit fund such as the Government Employees Pension Fund. This discussion seeks to provide clarity on why public servants must retire with GEPF. Another important discussion there, because it is quite tempting. You look at your statement and you're thinking, geez, I can live on this.
Exactly. I think your retirement savings are largely your biggest asset. And for most people, it's the biggest monetary amount that they'll see. Mm-hmm. So it's always very tempting to cash in on that instead of staying with the fund and retiring.
And once again, I mean, let's go back to the basics. I mean, what makes the GEPF different from all other pension funds?
So we are a defined benefit fund. Being a defined benefit fund gives members a certain level of guarantee that is not applicable to other forms of funds. Mm-hmm. So the first guarantee we give you is that whatever you're going to receive as a pension is going to be based on the number of years that you've worked and on your salary at the point at which you're retiring. The second guarantee is that your pension payments are going to be payable for life. And if you pass on, they're going to continue at a reduced rate to your surviving spouse. In addition to that, each year, if the fund has done well enough, it is going to increase your pension with pension increases, which increase by a measure of inflation.
And there should be more, isn't there?
There are other benefits which are not necessarily contributory benefits. Mm-hmm. If you stay within the GEPF, you're entitled to a funeral benefit. Mm-hmm. So that means if you're to pass on, or if your spouse is to pass on, or if your child is to pass on, the GEPF will assist you with the payment to assist with the funeral costs. And if you have stayed long enough in the GEPF, so if you have served for at least 15 years within the fund, you also qualify for a separate benefit which is paid through our administrator, which is a post-retirement medical aid subsidy. In essence, the administrator will be paying a portion of your medical aid premiums.
So here's another important issue, right? Some people say that if a pensioner happens to pass on while on retirement, whatever is left of his or her pension, that gets to be forfeited by the state. Is that true?
Not quite. So let's put in some numbers. What does the GEPF offer you? So when you retire, you've got a 5-year guarantee period. If you if you unfortunately pass on within that guarantee period, you're going to be paid, your beneficiary is going to be paid all the remaining pension payments that were going to be made within that guarantee period. If you have a surviving spouse, mm-hmm. your pension payments are going to continue to this surviving spouse, but at a reduced rate, and they'll be paid to your spouse for the rest of their life. So if your spouse lives on for a further 40 years, the fund is going to continue paying them for that period.
Yeah. And what are the other risk factors associated with those that resign?
So when you resign, you're effectively taking on certain levels of risks. Mm-hmm. You are saying that, okay, I'm going to take this money and face the risk of outliving my savings. And unfortunately, as members, we are not the best people to estimate how long we're expected to live. When you take on your resignation benefits, mm-hmm. if you live longer than a certain period, you stand the risk of finishing your savings and not having further pensions in your later years. Whereas if you stay within the fund, not only are you going to get paid for the rest of your life, you're going to get paid and receive pension increases mm-hmm. that are in line with inflation. Mm-hmm. On top of that, when you pass on, your surviving spouse is going to continue receiving these pension payments and will continue receiving these pension increases on these pension payments up until they pass on. If you have minor child dependents, they'll also receive pension benefits which will be payable to them up until they reach the age of 22.
Yeah.
So these are the benefits that you'll be losing if you were to leave the fund.
Yeah. So I suppose your advice to members is don't do it. Don't listen to people who will tell you about other benefits of retiring, because the pros and cons are such that if you stay on, then the benefits will be much greater.
Precisely. Our members are in a unique position. you're part of a defined benefit fund. You have outsourced all these risks, all these headaches and problems to the fund. Let the fund secure a comfortable retirement for you. Stay within the GEPF, retire within the fund. Thank you.
Do members and pensioners, though, of a GEPF have a say in the affairs of the fund?
Yes, our members have representation on the board to their member representatives, and our members are also free to write to us at any point in time. So they do have a say in the running of the fund.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.